Okay, you ready?
Let's go.
Okay, great. Well, welcome to the Brothers Saga podcast. And this week, we are thrilled to have Paige Bailey. She is the AI Developer Relations Lead at Google DeepMind, covering Colab, Gemini, AI Studio, Gemma, Jax, a whole bunch of other things that we'll get into talking about. She has a background in computer science and geoscience, which is interesting, and I believe comes from Texas. Is that correct?
Heck yeah. And I am a huge fan also of everything filmmaking, film related. I got to sit in on a couple of the screenings at South by Southwest just this past while.
Oh,
And
great.
also had the opportunity. I'm not sure if y'all are based in Los Angeles or have spent time in that general area, but there's this really cool thing called Channel 101, which is like it does short film screenings at the last bookstore each month.
Oh, that does
Um,
sound cool.
yeah, and it's been running for multiple decades. Like people vote on their favorite short films. And then the ones that win the series, they get brought on for a second episode or a third episode each following month. So huge film, especially indie film fan. So love what y'all are building.
Oh,
And
great. Yeah,
Texas
that's
too.
Yeah, and Texas.
Texas
And
is a
Texas.
huge film hub right now. There's lots of stuff going on there.
Yeah, like all of the link letter, like all of the like the Texas filmmaking scene is, I think, ripe for like new kinds of cinema as well, which will
Yeah.
be
mhm.
really
Yeah, Andrew introduced me to Dazed and Confused as a kid, and
uh,
one of our
awesome.
favorite movies takes
That's
All right,
good.
place
all
in
right, all
Texas.
right. Like,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah.
Which is actually, I believe, trademarked now. And
Really? I
yeah,
did not know that. Matthew McConaughey's doing well for himself. Like,
yeah, kind of like Ben Affleck. I think
He's living.
he's taken, yeah, he's taken a bit of a leadership position and trying to, calm and assuage fears in Hollywood. It's probably easy once you're successful and you've made it. You don't have a lot to worry about, but it is nice to see people calming down sort of the temperature and saying, there can be benefits and also things to watch out for. I did want to ask, I have been to South by Southwest, which is amazing. So what did you think of the screenings?
I thought it was fascinating. So I've been to several South bys as like a paying ticket person for the last few years. But when I was a poor college student, I would just show up and like hang out with all of the people that were in town, kind of adjacent to South by at all of the free events.
Mhm.
So the screenings I thought were really interesting. Several of them we're at the Violet Crown, which is one of the really nice movie theaters downtown.
Mhm.
And I also really loved that you had an opportunity to meet the filmmakers, meet some of the people who had been in the cast,
Mhm.
and also ask questions about the process of creating the film, what the methods looked like, and it made it feel a lot more accessible to folks who might be in the audience. This is one of the things that makes me really jazzed about AI filmmaking as well, to be honest, is that
Mhm.
like I feel like if more people have the option to be auteurs and to have like full
Mhm.
creative control over the filmmaking process,
Mhm.
then it also means that you can have a little bit more personal connection maybe with the audience as you're developing the piece.
For sure.
So
More unique stories.
exactly. So just like hopefully we're going to see an explosion of indie game development. I would love to see an explosion of like really interesting like grassroots indie film development as well.
Mhm.
Definitely. Yeah, like
Yeah.
in
Yeah, I think.
New York, they had that in the 90s, and I think it went
Mhm.
away for a while, and the studios kind of like consolidated all the production into big blockbusters, and and that
Yeah.
limited what we're seeing. But now we're gonna see, like you're saying, this like renaissance of indie auteur storytelling.
Yeah, especially for things like I also really love documentary films.
Mhm.
And like it's really hard today to get those funded, to like get all of the sort of necessary parts in place so that you're able to go about doing the documentaries in a tasteful way that aligns with kind of the creator's vision.
Mhm.
Um, I'm really, really hopeful that, you know, if we do introduce tools that help bring down the costs for production, while still maintaining the integrity of a person's vision, that might be, it might open up the gateway for people as opposed to everything feeling a little bit gate kept right now.
Mhm.
Docs are
Yeah.
almost where it's like AI's first taken off. We had Ryan Patterson on, and when I think his company Queen One is doing a lot of the reenactment pieces and the docudramas. So like
Awesome.
you have like a king walking down that used to cost,
Mhm.
hundreds of thousands of dollars for people to rent costumes and get sets built and stuff. Now you can do it, with a few clicks, and it helps get those things produced faster.
Awesome. I love it. Like,
Yeah, especially if it's just like one shot, right?
yeah.
Like
Yep.
I feel the pushback. Like if there's a whole movie that takes place, in a castle, and so you build the set location of the court, and
Mhm.
several scenes take place there. Like I can imagine for actors, it's easier to get into the role if you're in a costume and have props and have sort of a set and location. But yeah, if it's just one shot.
Well, those
Um,
productions have the budget too. But like a docu series, they're super low budget to begin with. I did a
Yeah.
couple shows, Fear Thy Neighbor, and one other one, and we were trying to recreate things on like a shoestring, but everything was non-union, so it's more difficult on that, and that it can really help those productions look like up their game for sure.
Absolutely. And I feel like you know, there's this concept in software, like in software engineering, or historically there's been this concept of like what do you build versus what is, you know, something that you're not trying to build your core expertise in. And so it doesn't really make sense for your team to build and maintain. It's much easier to kind of have that owned by some other team or contracted out. And I feel like if you're creating a documentary about something that, you know, is not necessarily a king walking down the steps of a castle, it's like something else, but you want to just have this as a short little vignette,
yeah.
um, that you know you're able to focus more on the area that's your core area of expertise and the story that you actually want to tell, and you're not getting bogged down by the implementation details of things that are outside of the plot of your story, regardless.
Speaking of funding films and blockbusters versus documentaries, I have heard of 100 Zeros, which is a
Oh yeah.
engineer I know is a Google, one followed by 100 Zeros. And so 100 Zeros is the name of Google's new film studio. And I believe the goal behind it is, you know, Hollywood has been portraying, everyone just says Terminator 2, right? That's the go-to. Um, or the movie Her, which doesn't necessarily have a happy ending. So I believe the goal, the mission is, hey, let's start, AI can cure cancer. It can invent anti-gravity space travel. Maybe it can do all this stuff for us. So let's have some positive depictions of that. Because, people are having a tough time, I think, right now with everything going on in the world. So yeah, can you tell us a little bit about 100 Zeros?
Yeah, so it's not part of the team that I work on. So I will probably do a terrible job of describing its kind of motivation and its goals. But from what I know about it, it's kind of this new effort to really bring all of the great AI for video development tools and technologies to the folks who are creating films and to filmmakers themselves. We've also had some filmmakers and residents in our Google Labs team, which is pretty cool.
I saw
Um,
that. Yeah, that's cool.
yeah, so like really hoping to co-design in a respectful way the both the models as well as some of the very basic tools that we have like Flow for interacting with video footage and kind of helping people understand how to use the models to use them effectively and to help us, make increasingly better models for the kinds of things that people want to stress test them for. Um, so that's the like a film and TV initiative for its products. I'm not again like I'm not the person that's responsible for it. So I don't wanna make like not give it justice for the program itself. But as far as I know, that's the motivation is to co-design some of these video tools.
Yeah, and you mentioned TV. I think Keenan from Saturday Night Live is like the first person y'all signed to do like micro dramas, AI micro dramas. So I'm interesting what
Very
his.
cool.
Yeah, yeah, it should be good. And then, do you know anything about like the work being done with Darren Aronofsky and Primordial Soup?
So
Um,
that is also being driven out of our Google Labs team.
mhm,
But again, this entire philosophy of co-building, co-designing, like deep integrations with filmmakers, so that they have support as they're beginning to learn how to use AI tools to help kind of augment and extend their existing processes.
mhm,
So I think that it's really helpful. All this space is changing so rapidly
mhm,
that it's really useful to have a tight collaboration with the modeling teams and the engineering teams so
mhm,
that as new features are released and they're getting released like on the order of every week, like you get immediate insight into them and you also have somebody there to kind of like help you understand how to use them.
mhm,
And hopefully longer term that won't be needed as much in the sense that people will like the models will get better at kind of helping people understand how to use them most effectively. But
mhm.
right now, I think it's super helpful to have that tight partnership between the research labs and the filmmakers.
Yeah, it's like dog fooding, right? Using your own product, making movies, and who better than yeah,
Yeah,
Hollywood A-lister. Um,
absolutely.
you mentioned Google Flow, so this is something Andrew has used extensively and made a fantastic 10-minute short film. So yeah, let's switch the topics and talk about Google Flow. Andrew, what's your take been on it so far? You've tried probably every AI filmmaking tool out there, but I believe you mentioned Google Flow is probably your favorite right now. So yeah, tell us
Well,
about that, Andrew.
aside from Saga, obviously.
Aside from Saga, of course.
No, but I mean everything in Google Flow is in Saga. I think we're integrating Nano Banana 2 into it now. And so the only outside thing is our screenwriting and but then music as well, which Lyria, that's what it is. That's how you say
Hmm.
it. Yeah,
Hmm.
Lyria 3 just came out. So we're getting
Mm.
that in Saga as well, and it's a good aggregate there. But yeah, so Veo 3.1, which is in Flow, is I think the best out there.
Definitely.
The lip sync, I think it's the best tool out there for native lip sync.
Mhm.
And from the first VO that I tried to 3.1, I think it got so much better with the lip sync because in the first ones, I made a commercial um, and the voice changed partway through production of it, just to some British accent, and I was like trying to get it back to the original, and I didn't know what to do. But now it's like it knows your character, and it'll just keep the voice the same, and so it's pretty amazing. Um, and the reference imaging in Nano Banana is amazing. So to keep the characters looking the same, even to kind of expand your world out, I think it's yeah definitely a couple of the best tools for filmmaking.
Awesome. I also really, really love, let me share this really quickly. This is there's not audio associated, but this is Flow TV. Have you all seen Flow
I
TV?
did see that came out. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is, if you go to the labs.google/flow, it's just a way that you can interact with a whole bunch of different videos that people have created and shared. But also interestingly, you can see their prompts.
Ah.
So you can see like the prompt that was associated, the model that was used to build whatever visualization you see in the film. And then like I love the channel Felt Cute. And like I don't think, since I'm not sharing audio, you'd be able to hear, but you can kind of unmute and hear like all of the little tiny noises associated. And then if you want to reuse any of the prompts, or if you get inspired by any of the prompts and you want to kind of see it in action, all of that is possible too. So
Does
if
it show the
folks
reference image if there is one, or does it just have the prompt?
Well, I think they're all created just via prompt, not via
Oh,
reference.
okay. Cool.
Like it's a really nice place to go to get inspired for video generations. And I feel like it's one of the most under attended features within Flow, but it's one of my favorites. Like I sometimes just have it in my apartment just on a loop, showing like the
That
videos
polar
created.
bear is cute. Yeah, I would live.
It's the new, you can make your own screensaver now. Just leave it on and
Yeah, like look at these little llama dudes. Like this, it's very, very, very cute. So strong recommend Flow TV.
And so what is Google Labs? I'm in the Discord, but I know there's, a few different efforts going on. But
Yeah.
I don't know much about Google Labs, if you could tell us.
Yeah, so Google Labs is a smaller PA within Google. It's works really, really closely with Google DeepMind. I sit
Okay.
within our Google DeepMind team, which is specifically part of the developer tools. So I focus on AI Studio, the models themselves. So things like Veo, as we were just talking about, but also Nano Banana, Gemini, our
Mhm.
Gemma open model family that just got released today, all of our developer tools. And then the labs team is really focused on kind of these AI explorations, especially in Gen Media. So the Flow product is built by our labs team.
It
Think,
was. Okay. Oh, wow.
yep. So Whisk, which got incorporated into Flow,
I remember
Notebook.
that one. Yeah, that was the images, right? You could do like little pins of yourself and stuff.
Yeah, and then Notebook LM was originally started as a labs product before it graduated. AI Studio was originally started as a labs product before it graduated. So lots of really great work
And
coming
and
from it.
AI Studio, I've tried it because when I got access to Lyria, but just for the audience, for our listener, what
Yeah.
is the AI Studio and how can they use it?
Well, I can show y'all real
Great.
quick. So AI Studio you can access today at just ai.dev with your personal Gmail account. It's the best way to get access to DeepMind's models as soon as they're released. So you can select different models here off to the right. I've got the Gemma models kind of pre-populated, but if I select video, you can see Veo 3.1, Veo 3.1 Fast, Veo
Mhm.
3.1 Lite, which is one of the newer models that we just released a
Just
little
released
while.
that one, right? Yeah. And the
Exactly.
price is
about the
like
same
half.
or
Yeah,
quarter.
it's like 5 cents per second, which is wild. Just as fast as Veo 3.1 fast, and it also does pretty well in terms of generation. So if I was to select this and then Veo 3.1 Lite, I've also got a couple of prompts already created. So this one is kind of about an espresso machine. I have a problem with caffeine intake, so let's see how this goes. You can select different aspect ratios, so 16 by
Great.
9 or 9 by 16.
Yeah,
Um,
verticals are taking off, vertical
yeah,
micro dramas, so that's handy.
100%. And so, like you can create a
Cool. And do
vertical
you
video.
need a like a paid API key? Oh,
You do need a paid API key. The output resolution is also only 720 and 1080p. So there's no 4K resolution. Um,
The other ones have
there's
that though. So it's probably coming out soon.
Well, the 3.1 fast and
Yeah.
also the regular Veo 3.1 definitely have 4K.
Yeah.
And then the another nice thing is that if you click Get Code within AI Studio, it gives you everything that you would need to replicate whatever you're doing in the UI. So if you wanted to have the code in script or Python or whatever it is, you can see it there. And then I'm going to go ahead and share with audio. So you won't be able to hear me speak, but you will be able to hear the video, and then I'll come back on. But let me do this and share system audio. And we should be able to hear the espresso do its thing.
oh yeah.
Nice.
Very cool.
Yeah. And so
So,
that yep, so that entire thing, let me go ahead and share my screen again so we can get the audio back. But that entire thing would have cost like, less than $1 in order to do the generation, less than half a dollar, I think,
mhm,
like 40 cents.
mhm,
And also is quite nice in the sense that you can kind of iterate on a whole bunch of different prompt ideas, without necessarily racking up the bill for something more significant or substantial,
mhm.
which is quite cool. And if you wanted to start with uploading your own image, you could do that too. Just generate the first frame using Nano Banana, or take the last frame, or guide the output as well.
Pretty
Um,
amazing.
yeah,
It's cool.
it's awesome. And
And
then
and do you need a paid API key to plug into AI Studio to get started?
not to get started with some of our Gemini models, but
Okay,
for
great.
the video generation models, you would need a paid API key.
Mhm,
Just like I do believe we have some free generations each day, so you can like
mhm,
go and test things out. But if you wanted to use it via the API, then you would need a paid API key. I
great.
will say though that so what we just saw was Veo 3.1 Lite, so video with audio, with the 5 cents per second. And then the thing that's kind of exciting, which should be released around April 7th, is the change in pricing for Veo 3.1 Fast.
Mhm,
Cool.
Um, so the costs are going down pretty significantly for 720p, 1080p, and also 4K.
amazing.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks for showing that. And we'll put links and maybe even some instructions in the description of the video so everyone can sign up and get started and have as much fun as I've been having. I gotta say, the Lyria 3 music model is incredible. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, heck yeah. So the Lyria 3 model is specifically for music generation, including music with lyrics.
Mhm.
You can test it out today in AI Studio, use it via the API as well. When we originally released it via the Gemini app, I believe it was only 30 seconds of audio.
It
Yeah.
was, yeah.
Now you can get like much more extended experiences.
Mhm.
And then let me pull up AI Studio again, just so we can see. But this is the build gallery. I accessed it by clicking on build in the left-hand side and then going to gallery and then selecting Gen Media. And you can see all of the different video and kind of image and audio apps that we have for people to start with and to get inspired.
Mhm.
But if we want to go into Lyria Studio, so we can see this example app, we can also see all of the code that was used to create it.
Mhm.
I always like using Gemini to create a prompt for me.
Mhm.
So I could say something like create a prompt for a music generation model to generate a song similar in vibes to a Devo track that's
And will it
talking.
know that you're doing that for Lyria? Like, does it also know how Lyria works and in order to generate the prompt the best way that it can? I was always curious because
So
I usually ask for prompts too, but I'm wondering
It's
if
it's a good question, and we had this discussion, right, of like AI. This was a few years ago we had the discussion, but AI was trained on everything till 2019 or 20 or something.
yeah.
So it hasn't been trained on prompts. Like no one had yet been making websites like, hey, here are all my Midjourney prompts, here are all my. So yeah, I was wondering like if you have some secret connection in the background that
for
knows
yeah, all these
Gemini
Google
knows how to make the
tools.
perfect Lyria prompt.
So,
Um,
so the we do incorporate a lot of prompts into our pre-training and post-training data.
you do? Okay, yeah,
And
great.
our Gemini, and I'm sure you've already experienced this, but Claude is really good at writing prompts for Claude, but not super good at writing prompts for Gemini or OpenAI. OpenAI is really good at writing prompts for its own models, but not really for Anthropic models or Google models.
Mhm.
And then our Gemini models are really, really good at writing prompts for Gemini, for Nano Banana, for
Or
Veo,
Lyria. Yeah,
Lyria.
great.
Because
And
I
so
assumed that like Gemini would know the most about YouTube descriptions and
Mm.
because it's connected to Google. Do they know like how these things work on that level? Like, do they understand?
yeah, like anything that's been part of the pre-training and post-training data. And it looks like Lyria has generated, oh, that's very cute.
It did the cover
Yeah, that's
art.
the cover. Eccentric robotic male vocals, jerky staccato. I gotta hear this. Like and also like let's
Whoa, did I see a karaoke button?
well, it's got karaoke. So you can for with the app
What?
you can sing it yourself if you're brave. But the let me share. And again, my audio is going to go away, so you can hear the
Yeah, I'll
song.
sing it. System engaged.
But let's try.
System engaged, I feel the charge. My logic circuits loom so large. It's tight, the rhythm's clean. Perfect geometric scene. My mind computes the coming phase. Lost inside a synth pop maze. I'm a nerd bot full of power. I'm a nerd bot, this is my
This is my
hour.
hour. Love it. That's
Okay, that was
incredible.
very
And
cute.
again, compared to
That was
Lyria 2, Veo 3.1 was quantum leap above 3.0. Like Lyria 3, compared to Lyria 2, I remember it was just 30 seconds, no lyrics. And this is doing cover art and lyrics and up to like 2, 3 minutes. It's
Well,
incredible.
one thing I'm
yeah.
excited about because it VO 3.1, you can add the audio and it'll do the lip sync now, correct?
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
as my kids are watching a lot of Disney stuff, and I'm like, well, I could make a Disney movie basically if I had a song that the little animated character could sing. I want to
Mm.
make something like that
Yeah.
next. I haven't seen the little musical number yet with AI, but I don't know.
Right. Yep. I think it would be it's the possibilities are endless now. Like I've seen people like parents who are really frustrated by kind of the quality of content for kids that they found, especially like how little educational content there was. Like they've just started creating it themselves.
Yep.
And it's also great in the sense that you can have like full transparency, like you can create little apps that say like, oh, well, your kid was watching a whole bunch of stuff about math and about rockets. So like maybe we create more videos about math and rockets. Like all sorts of personalized content that would not have previously been possible and now is. So
Yeah,
it's
it's
really
like
wild.
Khan Academy meets Disney meets YouTube self-distribution. That's
Exactly.
interesting.
Like
Yeah.
there's never been a better time to work in any of this, honestly.
Yeah, no, I agree. And so we touched on the Lyria model, which is really great, and the in video. What else is coming down the pipe in terms of AI models? I know world models are big. A lot of people are talking about those, and then agentic and coding tools. So
Yeah.
anything new coming?
Well, the if folks haven't seen it, and I always feel like there's something new coming. It's like,
Yeah,
every week we're releasing at least three new models and features. So like
yeah.
keep your eyes peeled. If folks haven't seen it, let me go ahead and pull up Genie real quick.
Hmm.
So Genie is kind of our frontier for world models. But I also have access to the Genie app. So let me see if I can find the link to Project Genie.
Hmm.
What it does is it gives you the ability to kind of define a world, define a character for it, and then experience it in real time for the space of a minute so far, and then much longer, for kind of future states. So I could describe something like a dusty West Texas oil field with oil rigs that are pumping out uh, pink sparkles.
For a while, it was giving me vibes of Hell or High Water, one of my
No, no,
favorite
no,
movies, but the pink
no,
sparkles
pink
sets it apart.
sparkles, unicorns roaming free in the background. And that should be pretty compelling. I don't think there's probably a lot of stuff in the pre-training data, so like we'll see how it goes. And
Now
then
it's now
maybe
it's
the
got
character,
like Ready Player One vibes. All the
Okay.
different worlds you can go to.
Yeah.
cool. And then like purple armadillo and a cowboy hat. And then let's create the sketch. So we've got the environment, the character, all of the tips and tricks that for Nano Banana and the VO models can be applied to the environment and the character descriptions.
Mhm.
So if and you can also start with a base image. So if you've got an image of an environment, if you've got an image of a scene that you would really like to be explorable, then that's something that you can include in. I don't think we've even started tapping the surface of how this can change the world. Oh, this is cool. Change the world for like immersive video. Like how cool would it be for somebody to be watching a scene and then say like, all right, well, I want to explore like this
Mhm.
dark alleyway where the murder just happened.
Mhm.
And like see what they can find and then like pick up the video footage again. But you
Wow,
should be
just
able
like
to,
that, huh? It's
yeah,
incredible.
the unicorns, the little armadillo dude, and then like if you do the space bar, you can see him like jump up.
No way.
Um, and then this just kind of continues along the span of a minute. If you move the arrow keys up and down, you can change the perspective.
Hmm.
So you can kind of see from different angles. And I think it's really, really cool too that this is not using any physics engine behind the scenes. This is just dynamically generating each next frame,
Wow,
pixel by pixel, based solely on the pre-training data and the post-training data that it's had access to.
That's crazy.
Um, it is
wish they had
bonkers.
this when Lord of the Rings came out.
Yeah,
I would have
and
loved
Well,
to.
or when I was writing like one of my first scripts, I think I talked about it the other day, but I was writing a story about our grandmother and grandfather who met in World War II, and like I'm trying to describe these air bases based off of like history books and then a couple photos, but now you could take a photo of like an air base and stick it in there and then go walk around a little bit and maybe get a sense of everything a lot
Yeah.
easier to
exactly.
help you write it. Yeah.
Yeah. And like from an immersive history perspective, like also really, really um making things feel exciting and immediately present in a way that it's really, really hard to get through just like raw text on a screen.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
super,
get
super
George
cool.
Washington to take you across the Delaware and show you how things went. And
Yeah.
yeah, so obviously this has like interactive, sort of cinematic experiences, lean back, and then the lean in. This has got video game implications. I'm sure video game designers are loving this in AI. But is the like I know for Dr. Fei Li of Stanford, like I believe the goal of world models is to advance AGI.
Mhm.
Is that your understanding? Like, is Google doing this to get into video game making tools, or is this really going for we want world models are the key next step after LLMs to get to AGI?
Well, I think that AGI is always going to be the motivation of DeepMind, like, and
Yeah.
also ASI. Like, we were already starting to hire ASI engineers for what comes after AGI.
And
Um,
for the listener, the general intelligence, and then super.
yeah,
The S is for super
yeah,
intelligence. That's like the
yeah.
Johnny Depp movie Transcendence kind of.
Mhm.
Yeah. Sorry to
Awesome.
interrupt. Please
No,
continue.
no,
Yeah.
no. It's all good. And I think the like one of the most exciting things for me about working at DeepMind is that, many of our competitors have focused just on text or code generation.
Hmm.
Um, the DeepMind models are really, really leaning in to not just being able to understand any input modality, so understanding video, understanding images, understanding audio, all of this stuff, but
Hmm.
also being able to output any modality. So outputting text and outputting code, but also
Video with
images.
voice and music. Yep.
Exactly. And then also even these things that are really compelling, like interactive world explorations.
Hmm.
So I feel like DeepMind is really leaning into kind of the space that everybody is most excited about, which is this generative media world. Like all of us are immersed in interacting with the environment and looking at things and singing and all of these things every day.
Hmm.
Like it feels, if you're going to get something that's truly AGI, like it's going to need to be able to understand and to generate all of this stuff too.
Hmm.
So I think that um, like definitely world models are going to be crucial on the path to AGI and ASI.
Yeah. Yeah. And hopefully in a positive way.
Yeah.
I believe in Google getting there. Like people may not remember, but like Google invented and you were at Google Brain before DeepMind, right? Like I believe the Transformers attention is all you need. Like the Transformers paper was that a Google Brain paper?
That was a Google Brain paper, and
Yeah.
actually all of the folks who wrote it, like we were all in the office together. Like I remember it was a really, really exciting place to be around 2017, 2018 timeframe.
Hmm.
Like and it's still honestly a very exciting place to be. It's just that now it feels like the
Imagine.
entire world has become an extension of Google Brain.
Yeah. Yeah. And is Jeff Dean, is he still he was one of Google's best engineers, right? Is he still leading or at Google
Oh yeah,
Brain?
like
Yeah.
well, Brain got absorbed into DeepMind, but
Yeah.
Jeff is still like very much writing code. Like every time he fixes a bug, it's like every time he
It's so
fixes a
funny.
bug, it's like everything speeds up by like 10x. And so it's like he is definitely still writing code along with his longtime
That's pretty
collaborators.
admirable for someone of his
Yeah.
success in position at the company to still be writing code. That's very googly.
Well, it's and everybody's building stuff. Like
Mhm.
Sundar's vibe coding things in his spare time. Like
Really? Yeah. Okay.
Demis is making video games. Like
No
like
way.
everybody is building stuff. Like
Yeah.
it's
Wow. And vibe
amazing.
coding, Google's tool is anti-gravity, right?
Well, anti-gravity and then also the build feature in AI Studio. So if you go
Mhm.
to ai.dev/build, you can just describe any app that you would want and it automatically creates it and deploys it for you.
Mhm. That's incredible. And just one more on 'cause I'm so interested in the history of tech in Silicon Valley and AI. What was the transition like? I was at I think you were at Microsoft as well, but I was at Microsoft and I've seen some successful acquisitions and some that were not, and the teams clashed. But you would say Google Brain and Demis's team, Google DeepMind, you just mind melded and everything's been going really well?
I think that's the case. Like there were a little bit of I think when we first merged, there were some just some process things of like, well, a lot of DeepMind is in London, a lot of Brain
Yeah.
is in California. Like, how do we work together across time zones? Like there were some of those things that needed to be sorted out. But for the most part, like everybody's just one big happy family. And now we're like Google DeepMind, it's very, very clear that we're all just kind of fully motivated and fully like moving in the same direction for all of these models.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then maybe one more question for me here. I'll let you jump in, Andrew. I noticed that you're also a generative AI investor, angel investor, and you advise some companies with Google Ventures. And we were talking to them at one point. They're a great team. I think they totally get it and see the vision. So, any tips for? I think one of your companies got acquired by CoreWeave, so you must be doing pretty well. You're good at this. So, any tips for people looking to invest in AI or spot the next thing?
Yeah, like I would say one of the biggest things to watch out for is there are some companies that are not really focused on solving problems. They're more focused on building infrastructure that fills in the gaps for the models as they exist today. So
Like
like
gaps
as
in memory, gaps in.
gaps in memory, gaps in, when the context window for the models, when the models were first released, I think their context window was something like 2,000 tokens or 8,000 tokens, like very, very small.
Oh, we remember because it
Yeah,
was hard to build our app around that.
exactly. And so there were a lot of people who kind of said like, oh, well, the context window is really small, so we're going to build a whole bunch of things like vector databases or whatever it is to kind of work around the context window being really small. And then like, very soon afterwards, the
Now it's
context
two
windows got
million, I think.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so it's the same for, people saying like, oh, well, the models are too expensive right now. So we're gonna try to figure out ways to like do things without needing as many inference calls when the reality is that the models are just gonna get better and better and they're gonna get closer to $0. Or people who say like, oh, well, the models can only speak in this language, like, we need these two other languages. So we're going to build dedicated additional models for that when the reality is that the models are probably going to speak every language.
Well, on
And
that,
so, yeah, yeah.
no, I just I heard something the other day where all the current LLMs out there are based on like what's on the internet, so that eventually they could all theoretically be the same, right? Because they're all training off the same data. And then somebody said that Oracle was going to be like a major um, asset because it has access to like lots of private data, and that will be the differentiator between these models to be able to train on like a private data that nobody has access to. Just
So so I'm not sure if I do agree that having data that nobody else has access to is really beneficial. Like as an example, the oil and gas industry, they have a ton of seismic and well log
right,
data that
yeah,
isn't publicly available.
yeah,
And so that would be super, super useful for models to train on. But increasingly, we're seeing that all of the pre-training and post-training for the models is like it's increasingly being done on synthetic data because the models have gotten to the point where they can create, text examples, audio examples, etc., better than most humans can produce.
interesting.
So, so it's like the world is evolving and shifting really rapidly, and I don't think that the future of pre-training and post-training data is going to be human created. Like I think it's going to be mostly model created. and figuring out how to be choiceful and tasteful about what gets incorporated in tokens for pre-training and post-training.
That's pretty cool.
Just,
You gave the
yeah,
advice to never be the smartest person in the room.
Like if I am the smartest person in a room, it's probably the indication that I'm in the wrong room.
Right.
Like
Yeah. So in the
the-
rapidly moving AI space, who are the types of creators or technologists that you look to now when you want to learn something new?
Gotcha. Well, I think one of the cool things is that it's basically people who are building with the garage door open. There are so many people around the world who are creating things, sharing them externally. I really, really love Simon Willison. I think his blog is incredible. Like being able to see all of his explorations each day, what's working and what's not. I really love seeing what gets shared from some of our researchers at Google DeepMind, the Anthropic team, obviously like really good friends. Love seeing their examples as well.
they've got the garage door open.
Well, it's like I try to build something new and release new features for my apps at webpage.dev every single day as well. So it's like and I feel like if you aren't building with the tools and getting really, really close to the models and pushing the boundaries, then it's really easy to fall behind.
And if we
So
fast
I
forward
think
to like the end of the decade, what's one thing about AI assisted filmmaking that you think people are maybe underestimating right now?
I think the costs will go down. So like if people were thinking that the costs are prohibitive, like get ready because the costs are going to be basically $0.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing that's going to be the real differentiator is taste.
Right.
So like how can you create a story with taste? And then also what is going to be the way in which you kind of personalize content or don't personalize content based on a user and what you know about them.
The
So like
flexibility.
you could easily imagine like filmmaking entering into a space where, you know, maybe I have a 30-minute long episode, but like the advertisements change based on like what I know about the person. So instead of one of the characters drinking a can of Celsius, you know, they're drinking a can of Diet Coke instead.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
And like those sorts of things are going to be like absolutely possible. And if the cost of, you know, generating this video content goes down to zero, it's also going to be financially feasible in a way that it wasn't before. Um,
Big for Google. I mean, that's ads are the bread and butter, or used to be, I guess. You guys have. I think I just saw YouTube is now making more revenue, yearly revenue, than all Disney and all the other companies combined. So yeah, Google's got a lot going on. But yeah, these micro-targeted advertisements that could be pretty cool and
yeah.
possibly more enjoyable. Like,
Spielberg
yeah, I
got it
think.
right in Minority Report. Do you remember? And
Mhm.
he changes out his eyes and then he sees all these different ads.
Yeah.
No. Oh, and there's the bell. So, Paige, thanks so much for coming on, and we'll put all the links and everything in the description.
And if you enjoyed watching this episode, then make sure you try out Saga for free at createsagas.com, where you can go from idea to finished video in one tool.
Okay, yeah. And Paige, do you have any last words of advice for our listener?
All I can say is like keep experimenting with models, like keep telling us how we can make them better, and what's working and what's not. And like I can't wait to see what y'all create. I think like right now there's no holds barred on the kind of content that can be generated, and the best way to really understand how to make it is to just start you know, experimenting with AI generated content and coupling it with your own existing filmmaking styles and like seeing what works and what doesn't. So I am so excited to see what people build.
Because
Yes.
the future,
The future is yours.
It's yours.
yours.